Hello, welcome back, and yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but it's been well worth the wait. Here it is, the Panther, my favourite light mech on Battletech tabletop, and it's been a long time coming, this mech. I fucking love the Panther. This is a 35-ton light, sort of made classic on the tabletop by being probably one of the more powerful lights in the sense of its damage output with a PPC and an SRM4. This is the 10k variant, which for some reason PGI have decided is the default, I guess, rather than the 9R, which is the original from, I don't know, like the 2700s, when it was first built by House Kurita. This is the late clan invasion model. I suppose it makes sense for the Resistance pack to have the mechs that are supposedly resisting the clan invasion, so yeah, you have the upgrades and you have the standard. So that's just to show you there what it looks like when it's unpainted, and then you've got the one in the camo. The third one along, the only difference is it has an ER large instead of a PPC. I'm basically just running this with the biggest engine I can fit, which is an XL 270 possibly, or maybe it might be a bit higher than that. I get about 115 kph before speed tweak, and the cockpit's pretty nice, good field of view. I do quite like this. I don't know. Originally, I wasn't too chuffed with the concept art, and the in-game model really sold it for me. But the concept art I didn't think was too great, and it's kind of the opposite because I feel the Enforcer kind of sucked in-game, but the concept art looks badass. So I guess it's just seems to be the trade-off. So how does this mech perform? In my opinion, it was already a great mech, and it doesn't really need much tweaking. I mean, this is pretty much what it comes with: an ER PPC and SRM4 with Artemis. All I managed to do was squeeze in the extra engine size to increase the speed, because in this game, if you're running on just the engine it comes with, you're dead in the water. I mean, even I have to admit that there's no way you could run a light mech with the engines that come with them as standard or not. It doesn't really suffer heat issues, so I didn't need to put in many heat sinks. I did switch up to doubles just because it helps. It just helps with your heat dissipation, and it gives you a few more critical spaces. I think I maxed out the armour on everything but the legs. I think there's 6 or 7 points left on each leg, and yeah, there's just the 1 ton of ammo for the SRM. And I did try ferro, but you can't really make a 35-ton build with ferrofibrous, so you pretty much stick with standard, and you've got enough armour protection. The strategy for this mech is hit and run. I'd say this is pretty much the hit and run mech now in the game, because the other lights are kind of built around, for instance, like the Commando, even the Death Snell Hero. Although you could use it as a hit and run, it doesn't have that survivability compared. It doesn't really have the armour. Whereas the Panther really does feel like it's got enough armour to take the hits to run that kind of role, and it can deal out some good damage, especially with the PPC perks. It's got some great perks to do with recharge rate, firing speed, projectile speed, and I believe heat dissipation is massively reduced. It still does overheat if you keep firing the SRM and the PPC at the same time, or one after the other. You will eventually overheat unless you skimp on other areas. Maybe you could take all the armour off the left arm, because there's literally nothing in there. Other ways you could build this, though, obviously there are 2 energy slots in the right arm and there are 2 missile slots, so you could do a couple of streaks in the CT. You could obviously bump down to a couple of medium lasers, a couple of pulses. I've seen people squeeze in 2 ER PPCs, but it's a death sentence. It does damage, yeah, 20 points is great, but it's too fucking hot. It's basically like trying to it's like trying to run a Thunderbolt 9S with 4 ER PPCs. It's good damage, but you'll spend more time shut down. You will actually doing damage in the match. I'm just trying to think of any other builds. You possibly do a combination if you don't mind dropping some speed. You could do an ER large and a PPC if you wanted that kind of pinpoint accuracy with both weapons firing at the same time. The other good thing about the Panther is it comes with jump jets, which in the tabletop was primarily because it was designed for urban engagement, so it would be used for jumping over buildings or jumping on buildings to snipe targets and then dropping down again. A bit like the urban mech, they're kind of a buddy. in that way, is the Urban Mech and the Panther do actually work well together on tabletop due to their both being quite slow but having decent weaponry. Both have 10-point damage weapons, PPC AC-10, so yeah, they're kind of like, one's an energy variant, one's a ballistic variant, and essentially that's how the Panther should run. Maps like this, Crimson Strait is a good example. Even the Mech Factory map, I think it was the one before Viridian Bog, I forget the name of it now. I've been on it so little, but yeah, I mean, any map that's got large built-up areas or any kind of terrain that you can make use of, that's where the Panther's really going to shine. Open combat, it's screwed. I mean, even with the range, it's not really going to cut the mustard compared to some of the mechs out there. Also, in a light-on-light engagement, it sucks. This actually puts me in mind of running the Adder Prime with 2 ER PPCs. It kind of feels the same. It doesn't quite have the speed to outrun other lights, but it can do damage. So it's actually really good at supporting heavier mechs. It's helped by the fact that a lot of people tend to ignore you when you're in a Panther. I found I've only dropped in it about 6 or 7 times now, and more often than not, if there's another mech near me that's larger, they tend to hit the other mech and they ignore me, and that's where I can strip armour away or make those precise shots on torsos. Which is, it's good. It's kind of yeah, it's kind of like running an Adder or running a Locust in that regard, that as long as you've got somebody who's taking the hits for you, you can really help out. The other problem is obviously it's not a brawler. Even if you did switch out the arm PPC for a couple of standard lasers, all your weapons are, you know, in one arm, so you've got to be mindful of that right torso or that right arm. You could run a standard, which means you don't have to worry about obviously dying as soon as you lose your right torso, but to be honest, you may as well run the XL, because the second that right torso is gone, you've only got a missile left, and yeah, it's not going to work out well. Even if you bump that up to an SRM6 with Artemis, if you wanted to sacrifice again, you're not doing the damage. This mech solely relies on its energy output, with the missile as a kind of secondary backup weapon. But as you see here, it's really good at the hit and run tactic of being able to drop down off the platform, PPC shot, drop down, PPC shot, drop down, PPC, and just keep repeating that. And bigger mechs really get stuck. I do get stuck on that guy for a second, take a few hits unnecessarily. But yeah, the left arm should be noted. If you do want to keep the armor on it, use it like the Centurion's shield arm, because as I said, it has no equipment in there, no hard points. So outside of maybe sticking ammo in there, if you wanted to keep ammo out of your side torso, that would be one use for it. Other than that, it's purely a shield arm. Just use it to tank hits if something's firing at you at range. Trying to think. Yeah, it comes with 2 AMS hard points as well in each torso, which kind of gives it this weird silhouette of a Vindicator at medium ranges. A couple of times I've looked at it and thought, fucking Vindicator? It's not now. It's a new Panther. It's the new Volvo Panther. No, the situation with the dual AMS, I'm not quite sure why they did that. It doesn't really make much sense. I don't see many people running it, to be honest, and there are better mechs with dual AMS, Firestarter for instance. But this is coming to the end, so do I recommend the Panther? Yes, it's fucking awesome. If you got it in the pack, I think you'd be very happy with it. If you're holding off, it'll be well worth picking up. If you're a light mech pilot, you might not like the lack of speed, but I think you'll be happy with the kind of firepower you can dump out of the thing. Jump jet capable light, decent armor, and good weapons from the off, and semi-decent hardpoints. Yeah, definitely my favourite mech is going to be with me in every Community Warfare drop going forward. So once again, thanks for watching everyone, and stick around for the Enforcer video.